So everybody, welcome to today's video. I'd just like to thank everybody for all the support on the Como video. That was absolutely fantastic. But in today's video, we're obviously going to be rebuilding Stuttgart in the German league. Look, I wanted to go back to German league. Honestly, it's one of my favorite leagues in Football Manager. I don't know what it is. I just love German football. It's really, really fun. But look, I put a poll up on the community page. Stuttgart won by a couple of percent. It was pretty close between them and Borussia Dortmund. But I think Stuttgart is a fantastic one to go with. They have some great young players. If you go in and look at the club side, look, everything looks very, very good. They have immaculate stadium, which is absolutely fantastic. Excellent training facilities and great youth facilities is one of the things that I was really, really excited about. Look, you know my love for bringing through good young players, and having good youth facilities is going to really help that. Immaculate pitch is also amazing. Like I said, I love German football, and this is a team that has some very, very good young players. But first off, as you can see, they have won the Bundesliga 5 times. But if you do go into that, as you can see, the 5 winners is going to be 1950, 1952. So, no, I mean, it was a long time ago, 1984, 1992, and last time they won it was in 2007. So it's been a while since they won the German league. As you can see in the cup, the last thing they've done is the runner-up. The Europa League, they were runner-up in 1989. It's been a long time since they've been good in European football and in German football, and I want to change that. They actually do have some very, very good players in the squad. Like I said, Jeff Chabat, probably one of their more experienced players. Look, very, very good all round. Probably speed and agility is probably the thing that is going to let him down a little bit. But look, aerial, mental, defending and physicals, he's very, very good. Then they have Luka Jacque, is probably one of their best young defenders at the club. He's only 22 years old, 6'2", right-footed, little one-footed, but looks something we can work on with individual training. Aerial's good, speed's good, he's pretty good all round, and he also has room to improve. They also have another fantastic young centre-back in Amin Al-Dakhil. I think I got his name, boys, but unfortunately he is injured for 7 weeks up to 3 months, so we're going to be missing him probably till like the Christmas time. But look, another one, 23 years old, 6'2", reasonably good with both feet, pretty good all round. Speed is honestly his thing. Honestly, this dude could be a right back. If he had a little more sort of like crossing and a wee bit more dribbling, he could honestly be a very, very good right back. But that is a position we could move him to down the line. We also do have some good fullbacks at the club as well. Maximilian, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his second name, boys. I'm not going to do it. Look, 28, he's got some experience. He's also German, going to help us registration. Very, very good all round. And we have another guy that plays on the right hand side, Lorenzo Assignon. He's French. The great thing is he's also only 25. This is good. There is a few older players at the club, but the club generally has some very, very good young players. Speed and physical and vision are obviously the things that's going to help him out a lot. And like I said, he's still pretty young. In the middle of the park, we also have a fantastic player in Atakan Karazor. Another one, 6'3". They have a lot of big physical players. The only thing that probably lets him down just a little bit is going to be his speed. But look, his mental, defending, physical, aerial are all fantastic. He's also 6'3". He also has fantastic leadership and high determination, so it's going to help the team out. One of my favorite young players in FM currently right now is Shima Andres. Another one, probably not the fastest in the world, but if you look at his stats, look, aerial, mental, defending, physicals are all fantastic. Vision and technical are also very, very good. He's only 20 years old. He's 6'3". He has 4 to 5 star potential. I actually have him in my Man United save. He is phenomenal. Probably one of the most ones that's been looked at quite a lot because he's been linked with a lot of clubs is obviously going to be Angelo Stiller. Absolutely fantastic. 24 years old. On the ball, really, really good player. Vision, technical, he's a very, very silky passer of the ball. He's also only 24 years old. The only issue we're going to have with Stiller is in his contract, he's got a release clause of 34.5 million, which he just signed. So I'm hoping nobody big wants him. Yeah, Real Madrid. So Arsenal, both of the Saudi clubs, and Bayern. The issue is probably going to be Bayern for us. Up top, we also have some decent players in Davies Undav, another one that's really, really good. I would like him to be a little bit taller because you know my love for big physical players, but look, a very, very good player. He's still only 28 as well. He's very strong with his right foot, fairly strong with his other foot. Mentals are fantastic. And the big man, Emiridian Demirovic, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Another one, 6'1". Very, very good all round. Very good with both feet as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And like I said, for the German league, a really good striker. But like I said, on top of them also having Shima and stuff and a couple of really, really good young centre backs, they do obviously have Dennis Seaman, one of the best young keepers in the game, but currently out on loan at the minute. I would love to be able to bring him back. So obviously, I'll have to wait till next year to bring him in, but I have brought him up on the first team. Just obviously keep a wee eye on his performances, see how he's getting on. Hopefully he doesn't get played and I can just bring him back in January. That would be fantastic. But he's one obviously for the future. He's going to be our keeper down the line. And I have brought in a lot of young players up from the second team in the under-19s. Another one is going to be Tom Keller. He's German. He's 20 years old. Obviously, like I said, one of our centre backs is currently injured, so we're going to need a wee bit of squad rotation. All in all, aerial probably not as quick as I would like to be, but look, a very, very good young German player. Probably one of the best young players I found sitting in the under-19s is going to be Jim Feltich. Look, already 6'2", very strong with his right foot, reasonable with the other foot. Mentals are absolutely insane. He's got 16 determination, and if you look over here, very, very good all round. So he's honestly just going to slot straight into the back line. I want to bring as many young players through as I can, and he's one playing at 2.5 star, has 4 to 5 star potential. A wee bit of a hidden gem sitting in the under 19s. I did then also bring up Mirza Katafovic. Like I said, we're going to be playing a lot of games, so we're going to need a lot of squad rotation. Another one, 6'3". He's also left footed, kind of hard to find left footed players every now and then. He's only 18 years old, and looks very, very good. Another one going to help with the squad rotation. They do also have Noah Darvuch, the kid that used to play for Barcelona, but in this version of FM, he's honestly not too great. His potential doesn't look fantastic. And if you go over here, look, probably not as good as he's been in sort of older FMs, but he's only 18 and we could progress. And they do also have another left back in the under 19s, or under those in the second team, this guy, and Lenny Moyer. Another one, look, he's playing a 2 star, has 3 to 4 star potential. If we're being honest, it's probably like 3 stars, so he's probably more likely going to be a wee bit of a backup, but that's perfectly fine. We are going to need players to play in the squad. I know they do also have fantastic players like Badarin, I don't know how to pronounce his second name, Unani. He's one that used to play for Nice. Obviously in other FMs he's been absolutely fantastic. In this one, probably not just as great, but look, a really, really good squad player. He's got potential and he could at some point get into the first team, but I feel like at the minute, probably not just as good as the players we've got. And if we do go over the competitions page, as you can see, the Bundesliga, they want us to finish sort of like lower mid-table. Honestly, I feel like we could do a lot better than that in this competition. I really do. I feel like our team's fantastic. Reached the quarterfinals of the DFB Pokal. Honestly, one of my favorite cups. Looked absolutely fantastic. They've no interest in the Super Cup, but we're going to try and win that anyway. And in the UEFA Europa League, they want us to reach the playoffs. Once again, a competition I will be looking to try and push at least quarterfinals and try and maybe semis or the final. I feel like our team is good enough. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how well they all gel together. We do have a lot of young players, but this is competitions I feel like we can do well in. And this is the formation that I am going to go with. Look, we're going to play 3 centre backs. One, I love playing 3 centre backs. It's absolutely fantastic. But we also have a lot of really good centre backs and a lot of young centre backs at the team. Probably our front 3 is probably where we're probably weakest, like in attack. But look, we have very, very good defense, a good midfield. Stiller, obviously one of our standout players, and then we have 2 decent sort of strikers. But then when they're injured, probably is where our squad's at its weakest. We have a total of about 8.7 million. I'm not going to buy anybody in the first summer. I'm going to reevaluate the team in January and just kind of see how we're getting on. If I feel like we need a striker or another attacking midfielder, we can of course go out and branch out, and then I'll see if we have any interest in any of our players that I'm looking to kind of get rid of. There is a few older players in the squad I would like to try and get rid of, but you know yourself, trying to get rid of them in the first window sometimes can be a wee bit of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to wait till January, reevaluate the whole squad. But I feel like this is the team that we're going to go with. Like I said, Nubel, obviously this is going to be Seaman whenever he comes back. Shabbat, and then Felcic, the wee 18-year-old German centre back. I'm going to bring him in and just start him straight away. Vasquez, Mittelstadt, Shima in beside Karazor. These 2 will be absolutely fantastic. Shima probably get a wee bit more legs about him, and I want him to play in the box to box. And then Assington, Stiller, and Undorf as our 2 attacking midfielders, and then Demirovic as our main striker. Like I said, we'll just reevaluate this all in January, just kind of see how the team's getting on. I'm actually really, really excited for this. I feel like this team can do very, very well. Because then obviously if you go over to the Bundesliga and the past winners, look, we all know Bayern's been on this reign of terror. Leverkusen did very, very well to win it the season before, but look, it's just been Bayern for so long. Like you got to scroll a long way down to find us in 2007. So that's one of my main goals, is obviously in this league to stop Bayern's reign of terror and build up a very, very good Stuttgart team with a bunch of really good young players. Boys, I feel like that's enough messing up where we jump over into season 1. Look, obviously we'll jump back in January and see what people are like for approach signs and reevaluate the team. And then obviously in April, I'll bring us back. Hopefully we can get some good players through the youth recruitment, because that would be my main goal, to bring some young players up through the under 19s and the second team and then integrate them into the first team. That would be my long-term goal. It would be fantastic. Obviously, we'll have to get a wee bit of luck with the youth intakes. We may have to buy some young players and then bring them up through the team that way. But all in all, boys, I honestly feel like this team could do very, very well. I would be very, very disappointed if we don't push up on the European spots in the league. I would want to break into the top 7. I feel like top 7 is a very, very realistic position for us to finish in the league and get some form of European football. Boys, that's enough messed about. Let's go play season 1. So we've got the April and we've got through our youth intake. Honestly, some pretty decent players. We'll start off with Owen Thorne, a young American. As you can see, look, 17 determination, 17 flair. Got some pretty good stats. All round pretty solid player, and he's only 15. Then the next one on our list is a young German player, more of an attacking player, Alan Stretchbayer. Probably butchered that. But look, another one, really, really good flair, good teamwork, good technique. All in all, good natural fitness as well, which is going to help because our team press pretty hard. And all in all, good technique, good vision. Pretty solid. The next one is Salim Adams, another German. He's only 15 years old. Once again, good decision making, good determination, good flair, good passing, good technique, good teamwork, good work rate. And once again, we're getting pretty lucky with our first youth intake. And the next one is a big Dirk Hein. That's a Fanta. He is probably the epitome of what like a German young kid should look like. That sort of rigid jawline, sweeping blonde hair. But anyway, look, we got sidetracked. Look, good aggression, good bravery, first touch is fantastic, good technique. And if you look over here, look pretty solid. And then the last one of our good players is Amir Gur, another one of German. Look, as many German players as we can get through the ranks is absolutely fantastic. Tackle on a 14, technique of 14, first touch of 13, mark on a 13, decision making of 15, 13 determination, vision of 14, 15 work rate, and he's already got fantastic balance. He's probably going to be the pick of the bunch. So boys, we're at the end of season 1. We did have one thing happen in and around the January period, and that was we ended up losing Stiller. Look, we all knew this was going to happen at some point, and if you've played FM26 enough, he always ends up going to the Saudi League. While obviously we were holidaying up until January, the board accepted a deal worth about 45 million, working its way up to 48 million. Look, honestly, probably pretty good because he did have that release clause of 34.5 million, so we could have lost him for that. Ideally, didn't want to lose him at all. But look, at least we got some good money for him. But then obviously with young Stiller going out the door, I needed to replace him. So I went and got young Fracalino. This is one I've had a wee bit of experience with. He is absolutely fantastic. Very, very well rounded. 6'1", little one-footed, but look, it is what it is. Technical stats, mental stats, and physicals are all absolutely fantastic. If you look over here, he is an absolute gem. So I was very, very surprised that we were able to get him. Did cost us a total of 40 million, which honestly I think is an absolute steal. So we pretty much just replaced Stiller with Fracalino. This I'm very, very happy with, and he's also only 21. But with that being said, look, we had the league to fight for. Look, I honestly believe this team is very, very good. I would expect us to get up into the top 6 of the top like sort of 7 teams. Our team is very, very good. We have that nice mix of like youth and experience. I'm excited to see how well we did this year. And you also got to remember, we did also have the Super Cup as well, where the board didn't care anything about it, but I did. If there's a trophy and we're in it, I'm in it to win it. That's the main goal. Like, I want to try and win every single thing. We actually ended up beating Bayern 3-2. Like I said, they had a wee bit of a ropey start to the season, so playing them right at the start of the season was probably the best time to play in. As you can see, we went 1-0 up through our right back, and then they got one back, of course, through Harry Kane. Who else would it be? We scored in the 91st minute, the 94th minute from Stiller to end up lifting the Super Cup. Boys, we ended up winning the fucking league. There was a couple of things that kind of played a part on this too. On top of that, look, the tactic is absolutely fantastic. The amazing GYR. The tactic will be in the pinned comments down below, along with the save file for this whenever it goes live. But look, GYR's tactic is absolutely fantastic. I've used this in a couple of saves. It is very, very reliable. We played 34 games. We won 20 of our games. We drew 7, lost 7, scored 59, only conceded 29. The closest team to us was 36, which is Cologne, and then we had a 30 goal difference, finished on 67 points. As you can see, Bayern are on 66, Cologne are on 65. But the thing this season that helped us out a lot, Bayern started terribly. They really did. When I came back in January, they were sitting down in 8th. I don't know what they were doing, maybe due to injuries or something, I don't know. So this helped us. Honestly, I can't believe this. I was expecting this to be a wee bit of a longer process, and look, this is only the start of this rebuild. We have a long way to go to make Stuttgart into a fantastic team. Winning the league just one time isn't enough to just say that you're one of the best teams in Germany, but this is a absolutely fantastic start. I'm so happy with this. Dortmund finished down in 4th. Leipzig are down in 6th. Bayer Leverkusen are down in 9th. So a wee bit of a random season. Also, Cologne, I know, do have a good team, but like I wasn't expecting them to finish in 3rd, but us finishing 1st. Honestly, when I came back and I see this at the end of the season, I couldn't believe it. But we do also have the German Cup, where we got knocked out in the first round by Ruben Münster. After winning the league, I would have expected a pretty decent performance in the cup. And to get knocked out in the first round, this is ridiculous. How can you go be German champions and then get knocked out in the first round of the cup? With that misery aside, we do of course have the Europa League, where we made it the whole way to the final against Porto, and then lost on penalties. We went 1-0 up, and then it was 1 each, 2-1, 3-1 at halftime, which wasn't really good. Then we pulled it back. Then it went to penalties. We missed, they scored. We missed, they scored. We missed, they scored. So we missed all 3 of our penalties, which is, how do I put this? A little disappointing. But the good thing is we didn't have to rely on this, obviously, to guarantee Champions League football. With doing so well in the league, and then we're not going to talk about the cup. I actually still can't believe we went out in the first round. But look, won the league, smashed in the cup, and we got the whole way to European final. Would have loved to win this. Look, if you get the final, you kind of want to win it, right? But then if we jump over to the end of season player review, look, we did actually very, very well. Our top goal scorer was big Demirel. Obviously, look, he's been there. He's a very, very good striker. He's been there since the start of the season. And then Undaf got him 15 goals. And then Darvuch, surprisingly, the assistant manager put him in. Obviously, this had a huge part to play with Stiller leaving as well. And then Fracolino got himself 12 goals. And then the guy that we have in on loan got himself 12. If we go over to assists, as you can see, Mittelstad, our left back, got himself 16. Our right back got himself 12. Young Shima Andres also in there. He got 4 goals, 7 assists. So we spread the goals out a little and the assists out pretty well. I would like to see a few more assists, obviously, from midfielders, because look at the goals are fine. 18, 15, 13, 12, 12. Would like this to come up a wee bit, but look, it's our first season. We just won the Bundesliga. But the assists, we can't just rely on 2 people to get over 10 assists a season. I would like to see us start coming up. But all in all, boys, what a season. This ended up being the team that played a vast majority of the season. There was one surprise in here. Young Hendricks, I ended up putting him in as our left-sided centre-back. Look, here's the thing as well. Look, he's 24. He's very, very good. Our left back that I was going to play in there was very, very slow. He's a wee bit more well-rounded, so I decided to put him in there, get him some experience. He's got high determination, good bravery, mental stats. Very, very good. Physicals, he's an absolute unit. So I ended up putting him in on the left side centre back. And then of course young Felch, look, one has developed very, very well. Still only 19 years old. He's also German. Like I said, I want to try and keep as many German players in the club as I can. Ideally, I know it's very difficult because a lot of the very good young German players, let's be honest, most of them play for Bayern. Like a vast majority of them do play for Bayern or are very, very expensive because they're established at other clubs. But look, he's one I feel it could be absolutely fantastic. His leadership skills is also up to 14 now. Could be a future captain. And then, like I said, Big Shima, I wanted to lock him in for the season. 49 games played, 4 goals, 7 assists from box-to-box midfielder. He's one, would like his pace to come up a wee bit. But look, there's a couple of other things I would like to work on. That is something we can work on with individual training. But look, at 21 and at 6'3", he's an absolute unit. And then, like I said, Darvuch actually got a lot of games. As you can see, a lot of arrows going up. So this is one, like I said, I would like him to have a wee bit more higher determination, but look, it is what it is. 34 games played, 13 goals, 2 assists. And like I said, he has developed a wee bit, but this is one of those ones we're going to have to see over a couple of seasons because he's still only 19 years old. But boys, all in all, a absolutely fantastic season. Now, with us obviously winning the league, next season, we're going to be in the Champions League. We're going to be in with the big boys, but we do have a very, very good squad. Our squad depth is also very, very good. And the only positions I'm kind of looking at the team and I'm like, I'm not too sure is obviously Darvuch because he's young, he's inexperienced, he's not absolutely fantastic yet. Fracolino is just, he's ready to walk into any team. He is very, very good. Midfield and the 2 wing backs, I'm very, very happy with. Our backline, I'm happy with. And then obviously Nubel, this is going to be Dennis Seaman. That's a good point. I didn't actually check to see how many games Dennis Seaman actually played while he was out on loan. He played 31 games, 10 clean sheets, and a total of 30 goals conceded. But all in all, whenever he comes back in the summer, obviously he's going to be our first choice keeper. So this is more likely what the team is going to look like. Seaman, Hendricks, Jeljic, Jasquez, who also played fantastic as well, Assington, and then Big Karazar. This is one probably at some point we're going to have to find a replacement for. With him being turning 30 this year, we are going to need to replace him at some point. But like, we don't need to do it right now. He's still very, very good. And then, like I said, Ashima, and then Mittelstad, Darvuch, one we may look into, I'm not too sure yet. And then Fracolino and Dermotovic, who is one within a couple of seasons we are going to have to replace again because he's going to be 29 next year. Which means, boys, if we do a wee overview of the rest of the season, look, first in the league, the cup, I'm not gonna lie, massively disappointed. We need to improve on this year, and then obviously winning the Super Cup and then getting the final. Honestly, I would have loved to have won the Europa League because then we would have won the league, we won the Europa League, and we won the Super Cup. We won 3 trophies in one season. But all in all, boys, look, we can't complain about anything this season. We guaranteed Champions League football, and we stopped Bayern's reign of terror. So, boys, let's jump over into season 2. So boys, then obviously going over into season 2, look, we had a fantastic first season. Look, if I'm being realistic, look, none of us expected us to do that well with Stuttgart. I'm super realistic, but I was thinking top 5. Top 5 will do really well. We'll get some European football. We'll just keep the momentum going. We'll keep buying better players and move our way up. I didn't think we would have won the league in the first season. But like I said, a huge part of this is down to the fantastic tactic from GYR. I'll leave all that in the pinned comments down below when this video goes live. But look, obviously we didn't have a lot of money this season because the board already confirmed the signing to somebody. And that person was Big Balil. Obviously he was on loan to us last season. I'm guessing there was a mandatory fee in there because we ended up paying 16.5 million for him. So pretty much all the money that we had for our transfer kind of got used for that. We did have a little bit left over and I was able to bring one person in. This is probably one for the future, a wee bit more sort of squad depth, but I actually kind of really like this. Khalil, I'm happy enough with. Look, he's a very, very good player. He's still only 22. And the person I brought in is young Noel Asiko. This is one, he can play in DM, he can play centre back, he can play right back, he can play in midfield. Obviously going to be fantastic for squad depth. Ideally, I kind of want to play him at right back. I want him to be our starting right back. He's good dribbling, good first touches, mental stats are good, physical stats are good. Look, natural fitness is a little low, but we do. That's fine because we're going to have a lot of games and we're going to be able to rotate people in and out. But look, all in all, we paid a total of 15 million for him. I think all in all, it's a very, very good deal. He's 20, he's German, he's very, very good all around. And like I said, he can play in a lot of positions. Look, we're playing in the Cup. We're playing the league. We're now in the Champions League. So yeah, we're going to need a wee bit of squad rotation. And that was pretty much everything to do with all the transfers. We weren't able to really do anything else. So the team going into season 2, honestly, I'm very, very happy. One thing is we have Dennis Seaman back, so he's going to be our starting keeper. And then Hendricks has signed a new contract, so he's here for the next 3 years. And then Jeltic, I honestly believe this kid is going to be phenomenal. Look at all the arrows going off from him just playing one season. This kid, honestly, joking aside, I've started a Man United save. I'm actually looking to bring this kid into my Man United save because he's fucking fantastic. And he still has a long way to go. If he hits 4-star, gets another star better than this, and also his leadership has now went up to 15, he'll probably be the vice captain. And then moving forward for the next couple of seasons, I really see this kid as the future of our captaincy. Because he's fantastic. I think our backline, Hendricks and Jeltic and Vasquez, I'm very, very happy with. Asiko and right back, obviously we're going to have to wait and see how he does this season. And then, like I said, Kavrazor, obviously going to be 30 this year, and we are going to need a replacement at some point. I do have somebody in mind. It's just whether or not down the line we have the funds and obviously the reputation to be able to bring him in, because he plays for Bayern Munich. I'll just leave it at that, and you can try and guess who it is. Look, very, very good player. Obviously, he's the captain, and then the young man's going to be the backup, and then when he leaves, the young man's going to pick it up. Then obviously Big Chima in beside, and then Milstad, Francolino, and then obviously Khalil in beside him, and then Demirovic up top. I did look to see if we could get another striker in, but like I said, once again, the funds were kind of low because of obviously the Bully transfer going through, and then the 15 million we paid for Seco. So obviously we had 30 million, which I think all in all in the German league is pretty solid. Look, I know we won the league and everybody's like we should have 50, 60, 70 million, but look, unfortunately, look, their finances at the club's not just as good as Bayern, so we can't go and spend that money every year. But look, if we do well this season, the funds might start going up and up. So if you do look at the finances for the club, things are very, very healthy. 59 million, which is solid. Our income's only 2.91, and then our expenditures 11.3. So obviously, look, that's people going in, people going out and stuff, transfer fees and stuff. It is what it is. But look, all in all, the club is in a very, very healthy spot. And then, like I said, if we just keep winning and just keep doing what we're doing, look, I don't expect us to win the league every single year. I wasn't even expecting us to win the league last year. Never mind over the next couple of seasons. My main goal, stay in Champions League football. That is going to be the thing. I want to stay in Champions League football because that's where all the moolah is at, and the more money we get, the better players that we can bring in. So that's going to be our main goal. Stay in the Champions League. Obviously, do a little better than the cup that we did last year, because if we can make it to the second round instead of the first round, then we'll have done better. And then obviously we're in the Champions League. So I would like to try and make it out of the league phase / the knockouts. I think is a very, very good first run in the Champions League. I'll be very, very happy with that. Obviously, then we're also going to have the people that are available on approach to sign on January, and then we're going to have our youth intake in April. But boys, I feel like the team is very, very good. Let's jump over into season 2. So we've got the January. I did try to sign a few players. Both of them ended up going to the Saudi League. So unfortunately, that never happened. But we did have a lot of movement in January. We had a couple people going out, and some good young players coming in. So one of the first ones out the door was our striker, Demirovic. Not really overly wanted to sell, but the Premiership came knocking. Even though we're German champions and we're in the Champions League, he wanted to go to Leicester, which I don't really overly understand. So we got decent enough money for him, 17.5 million. Look, would have liked a little bit more, but 17.5 million is a lot of money for us. And the next one out the door was one I was actually looking to try and get rid of for a little bit. It's not that he's not a great player, it's just he's very, very slow for the system that I want to play. Is Jeff Shabbat, German, 28, still in that very, very good range. But look, if you go over here, look, his physicals and his speed, it's a little worrying. Look, I know we're playing 3 at the back and you can kind of get away with having someone a little slower, but I don't want to have any weaknesses in the back line. I want our defensive line. I want us to be that very sturdy German team, and just unfortunately with him being so slow, it does leak a few goals. So Ipswich come in, offered us 7.5 million for him. Then another one went out the door. This is one I didn't really want to get rid of because he was a very good backup player, but he wanted to go and get some first team football. Was Yannick Kettel. We get 3.5 million for him over to Frankfurt. So then obviously with us getting a centre back out the door, I wanted to bring another young German centre back into the team. I've brought in Karim Koulibaly, got a lot of potential. We did have to pay 19 million for him, but look, that's perfectly fine. He's got a ton of potential. Physicals are very, very good. He's also 6'4". He's left-footed, little one-footed, but it's something we can work on with individual training. And like I said, for 19 million, look, very, very good all-round, has a ton of potential, and he's only 19, and he's German. Then he also brought us another young German player in Hassan Cuadrado. This is what I've been keeping an eye on, but he was very, very heavily priced, and then he was transfer listed at his current club for 16.5 million. So yeah, we went in and activated that. Ideally, look, this is going to solve our midfield problem, because then when we lose Karazar, or however you pronounce it, our older defensive midfielder, all I'm going to do is move Shima into the defensive midfield role, and then Hassan Cuadrado is going to play in the box-to-box, and then we have two young, very, very physical players, 6'3", 6'4". You know my love for big physical teams, so them two are going to be the two players to play in the middle of the park. And like I said, for 15.5 million, I think this is a really, really good deal. So boys, we're at the end of season 2. Obviously, if we're here, look, the youth intake was not great. Our best player was a 2.5 star. I signed them all anyway. Look, we could have maybe a couple of hidden gems, but look, it wasn't great. We got a fantastic first season, so no, I mean, I don't expect 2 years in a row. But obviously, our goal for this season is, like I said, stay in the Champions League, just keep pushing Bayern as far as we can, do better in the cup because we were absolutely horrendous last year, and then just try and reach, like, ideally the knockouts, the league phase knockouts, round of 16, in and around there. That sort of, I think our team's good enough to be there. So let's jump over, see how we did in the league. Unfortunately, we couldn't retain it 2 years in a row. Bayern were very, very good this year. As you can see, 34 games played. We had 24 wins, which is phenomenal. 7 draws, probably the draws, probably, wouldn't say losses of the league, but didn't help us. And then we only had 3 losses all year. Bayern only lost 1 game all season. So obviously, like I said, Bayern didn't play great last year, kind of brought it back this year. But look, all in all, we played absolutely fantastic. All we can do is just try and play the best we can. We only lost 3 games out of 34 all season. I'm pretty happy. Like I said, would like those draws that kind of sort of come down a little bit. But we scored 69 goals. We only conceded 29, which is absolutely fantastic. With such a young backline as well. We had a 40 goal difference, finished on 79 points, and Bayern finished on 87. So like I said, they're what, like 8 points ahead of us. But a fantastic season in the league, boys. So let's see, can we do better in the cup? And we did do better in the cup. We made it the whole way to the final, where unfortunately we get smashed by Bayern. Look, if we get beat 3-1, they were 1-0 up through Diaz. Elise made it 2, then we got 1 back, and then Elise sort of finished the game off. Look, all in all, we did way, way better than what we did last year. And obviously Bayern, look, they deserve to win, but like, it's a little annoying getting the final and losing. But look, we made it past the first round, and we did have some fantastic wins along the way. In the semi-finals, we finished off Stuttgart, we finished off Frankfurt, beating them 2-1. The quarterfinals, we had a fantastic 3-0 win against Kaiserslautern. Third round, had a fantastic 3-0 win over Hanover. So we did in the cup very, very well this year. Look, we finished second in the league, finished second in the cup, but we did have our first stint in the Champions League this year, where we made it the whole way to the knockouts and unfortunately got beat 7-3 by Lazio and Agrit. Honestly, I feel like this is a team we should be beating, and this one's a little frustrating because we did honestly pretty well in the league. If you go to the league phase, look, we finished down in 17th. Look, you have to finish in what, the top 24. Dortmund just about scraped it. Roma, Feyenoord, like, so we're in and around some big teams. Dortmund, Bayern are just behind us. So we did well in the league phase, but honestly, look, we got to where we thought we were going to get to. At the start of the season, we also did have the Super Cup where we played Bayern. They beat us on penalties, 1-0. But all in all, an absolutely fantastic season. We finished second in the league, second in the cup, second in the Super Cup, and then made it to the knockouts, where I thought we were kind of going to get to. I honestly, joking aside, I think we should have beat Lazio. I feel like our team is good enough. We should be beating Lazio. And then if we go over to the goals and assists and stuff, we had some fantastic performances. Young Francolino played 50 games, 30 goals and 7 assists. He got injured at the end of the season, so it was a little unfortunate. And then we had Belil, played 49 games, 20 goals, 10 assists. And then we had Undaf, 50. He started 27 games, 23 off the bench, 15 goals and 5 assists. He does not want to sign on our contract, which is a little unfortunate. Then we also have both of our fullbacks play absolutely fantastic. Asiko, 47 games, 3 goals, 18 assists in his first season. And then over on the left hand side, big man played 42 games, 11 goals, 16 assists. And then, like I said, Belil also got himself 10 assists. So boys, right at the end of the season, honestly, this team I'm so happy with. I'm also happy that we've had a bunch of really, really good players. Like the backline, we haven't had to change. Seaman, the 3 centre backs were all here. Obviously, Jeltic was in the under-19s. We had to bring him up. Asiko, German, we did have to bring him in, but for 15 million, a really, really good signing. Both of our centre midfielders were here. Our left back was here. Obviously, Belil on here on loan, and then came in. Sandro Drago, we brought in, which I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic for us. And then Francolino. So obviously, I like that we've kept a vast majority of the base of the team, and we're doing absolutely fantastic. Obviously, down the line, whenever the big man, Atakan, decides to either retire or leave, there is a little bit of an interest around him. I don't obviously want to sell him if I don't have to. Shima will just move into the DM, and then Asanka Drago will just move into the box-to-box. My only worry is with this, if you go into Asanka Drago, his natural fitness isn't great, but it is going up, and his natural or stamina is only 13. So this is one where we may just keep him in the attacking midfield role and then maybe find another guy to replace him down the line. I do have a few players I'm very, very interested in. I still have 27 million left over in the transfer kitty. So this is a position, like I said, I want someone sort of big. That 6'2", 6'3" in there can kind of go forward and go back. Even though he's playing in a DM role, I'd still like him to be able to play football. That's why Shima will be perfect to drop in the defensive midfield role and then find a good box to box. But once again, we'll just jump that bridge whenever we come to it. But all in all, boys, look, once again, I would say a really, really good season. Look, we didn't win the league, but all I want to do is just keep fighting Bayern and just keep pushing them and pushing them. We lost 3 games all year. They lost 1. What can you really do against that? Let's be honest. Bayern's team is absolutely ridiculous. I'm really, really happy with the boys. But let's jump over into season 3. But one thing I did want to show you is before we jump over into the next season, the board has given us 73 million as our transfer kitty. Like I said, I had about 27, maybe 30 million left over from all the deals in January there, but like I didn't think we were going to get 73 million. So yeah, that defensive midfielder maybe coming in soon. So boys, then jumping over into season 3, look, there was a few things about the team I kind of wanted to move around. Some players left the club, couldn't really stop them, but yeah, we replaced them pretty well. So one of the first players out the door was Hendricks. One, obviously, I don't want to lose. He had just signed the new contract. I was very happy to have our backline just the way it was. But look, this was a weird one. A couple of offers come in. It was Leverkusen, one English thing. It was like Leicester, and then like Juventus. And he was like, I want to leave due to the interest shown on me. And I was like, we're a Champions League team, blah, blah, blah. We just won the league and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, he wanted to go. We ended up going over to Leverkusen for like 13.7 million. Look, all in all, would have liked a wee bit money for him, but look, he's not one of those players that's worth a ton. And we do have Koulibaly there, so look, if he leaves, it's not a huge thing to the team. So yeah, you remember that guy Balila we signed last year? Yeah, he's away to the Saudi League. Granted, we did get 40 million for him. I think we paid about a total of like 16.2 million or something for him whenever the loan deal was agreed. So yeah, we ended up making a decent amount of money. I would have liked a little bit more, probably pushing to like 50. I did try. They wouldn't go past 40 million. And look, if he doesn't want to stay, I'm not going to keep him at the team. So then one of the young players I brought in is young Nathaniel Brown. This is going to be obviously, look, we need another left back and I need someone that can play as a backup. We're going to have a lot of football between the Cup, the League and the Champions League. We're going to have a lot of squad rotation. And honestly, he had a release clause of 4.2 million, so I activated it. He's also German. He's only 24. Then the next one I brought in was young Matteo Palma. For some reason, I don't know if this is, maybe he's got 2 nationalities. I don't know, but most of my saves that I've been in, Matteo Palma is Italian. For some reason in this save, he's German. I don't know. Look, he may have the ability to play for both sides. I don't know. Anyway, we brought him in for a total of 9.5 million. Obviously, look, we lost a couple of centre backs. People just going out of contracts and then some people sold. Good thing is, like I said, German, 19, 9.5 million. He can play reasonably well both feet. He's 6'4". He's pretty good all around. Got room to improve, and like I said, we're going to play a lot of games, so he's going to get some football. So then one player I brought in, this is on a season loan, it's costing us a total of like 3 million I think for the entire season, is Rasmus Højlund. Look, kid is very, very good in this game. Speed, attacking, technical, he's very, very physical. He's 6'3", he's good with both feet. Obviously, we do have the ability to be able to confirm the signing. I think it's about 70 million. Not too sure if I'm going to confirm this. We do have the money, obviously, between sell and Balila and stuff. I think I've got like 78 million left over in transfer kitty, so I may reevaluate in January and have a wee look around, because we are going to need another striker. Obviously, I'm going to drop Firmino back into the attacker midfield role. Then it means him and Hassan are going to play in behind Rasmus. I think this is a really, really good deal. He's a good player. Like I said, he works hard. He can play with both feet. He fits that mold of like, I want that big physical players on my team. And for a season loan for 3 million, I think this is a good deal. But the big one that I brought in was Nathan the Cat. This was my thing. I was talking about this at the end of last season. The fact that Asanka Drago is absolutely fantastic. Can he play in the box to box? You're going to get 9 natural fitness, 13 stamina, which, knowing he still could play it, but I would rather push him up the park and behind the striker. He has everything you need to play as an attacking midfielder. So I brought in Nathan the Cat. This was a little costly. It cost us 50 million. Arsenal was interested in him and PSG was interested in him, and that just shows you the quality of the player. You can always tell the quality of the player by the clubs that are interested in wanting to sign him. If those two clubs are interested in him, so it means like I said, I drop Shima into the defensive midfield role. This dude is going to play in the box to box. He's 19, 6'4", an absolute unit of a player. He is very, very good all around. He still has room to improve. I think he gets about half a star better than this. Even if he stays how he is now, he's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, if you go over into the transfer kitty, as you can see, I still have 66 million left over. So when we do get to January, I may look into bringing in a striker. I would love to bring Rasmus in, but I don't want to spend like 70 million. If we got a wee deal, like 45, 50 million, I'd probably say yes, because he's a good player. He fits the mold of everything that I want. But that's something we can go back to and reevaluate at some point. Like I said, this is going to be the team going into season 3. Seaman, Koulibaly, Felcic is now our, I was going to say assistant manager. He's not the assistant manager. He's the vice captain. And then Vasquez, who has signed the new contract. There was a lot of interest. Borussia Dortmund wanted him. And yeah, I just locked him down for another contract. And then, of course, Milestad, he is now the captain of the team. De Cat and Shima in the middle of the park beside each other. Asiko, who had a fantastic season last year. Sangratrago and Fricolino in behind Rasmus. This is a very, very good team. And as you can see, all the players here, our squad depth is also very, very good as well. And like I said, we do have that 66 million, so we can come back in January and reevaluate. Of course, I'm going to look and see if there's anybody good on the approach of signs. For this season, ideally, once again, stay in Champions League football and try and push Bayern and try and win the league. Look, they only lost one game. The one thing is, that they, I don't know who they've signed to replace him. They did lose Jamal Musiala to Liverpool for like 160 million or something. So I don't know if they've replaced him. Even if they have, it's hard to replace Jamal Musiala. The kid's unreal. So that might help us. Hopefully they lose a few more games, because they only lost one game all season. But stay in Champions League football, push Bayern for the league. Of course, the cup, try and do what we did last year, get the whole way to the final. Would love to try and win it. And then the Champions League, I would say our team's stronger this year. Obviously, Koulibaly, a little young, inexperienced. Seema De Cat, young, inexperienced, but they've got the potential there to be absolutely fantastic. Knockouts are round of 16. I would like to try and get to the round of 16 this year. Do better. If we can do better in the league phase, I'm not saying we can push up into the top 8 in the automatic qualification, but I want to try and get to the round of 16. So push for the league, stay in Champions League football, do well in the cup, and try and reach the round of 16. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 3. So boys, we're at the end of season 3. Obviously we're here. The youth intake was not great. Once again, their highest person was, he was a 3-star. Once again, assigned them all anyway. So transfer wise, we did confirm one person. It was only Rasmus Højlund. I say only. I mean, it's a pretty good signing. We got him for 46 million. Like I said, I didn't want to pay that sort of like 60 to 70 million. If it was a deal for like 45 to 50 million, I was kind of interested. As he was playing through a season, he did have a good season. The price ended up coming down. He was valued at 43 to 47 million. I offered 46. They said yes straight away. So we do own Rasmus full time, which is fantastic. Let's jump over and see how we did in the league. We did it, boys. We finally got the league back. Look, I'm not going to say this was down to Jamal Musiala going to Liverpool, but Bayern did not have a great season. We played 34, won 24 again. We're pretty consistent. We drew 7, lost 3, the exact same as what we had last year, but we scored 80 goals. I think we were 60 plus last year. We only conceded 25, 55 goal difference, 79 points, which is absolutely wild. As you can see, Bayern lost 7. That's 6 more games they lost than last year, which is absolutely wild. We ended up winning the league by 10 points. This is exactly what I wanted. Look, I didn't think this is all just come around very fast. And like I said, a huge part of this is a tactic. I know I've brought this up a couple of times in this video. This tactic is absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, it's one of the tactics. I'm using it currently in my Man United save. I'm currently using it in my Rotterdam save as well, because I want to test that we a smaller team, and it's been doing fantastic no matter what save I've been in. So like I said, if you want a really, really good 3 at the back, everything will be in the pinned comment down below when this video goes live. I highly recommend you picking this video up. But boys, that's 3 seasons. We've won the league twice. Let's see if we can do better in the cup this year. And do better in the cup we did. Granted, the opposition we played against was a little different. Bayern was not there. I don't know where they got put out. We'll have a wee look at that in a minute. We're playing Eintracht Braunschweig. We beat them 3-0. Sangratrago, Felcic and Quadrago again got all 3 goals. So that means, boys, we finally lifted the German Cup. In the semi-final, we faced off against Nuremberg. We beat them 5-0 in a fantastic win. Actually, hold on. Where did Bayern go out? Bayern weren't even there. They weren't in the semis. The quarters, we played Elfsberg. We beat them 7-0. Bayern's not even in the quarters. Third round, we played against Dynamo Dresden. We beat them. Bayern got put out in the third round. And with regards to the Champions League, we made it to a fucking final. Look, I'm trying to, like, I was trying to think of a way to make this kind of realistic, but this tactic has just blown the fucking game out of the water. You know, my goal was round of 16, maybe quarterfinals if we play really, really well. But the team, I'll show you all the team stats after this. Everybody performed so well. We played Barcelona in the Champions League final. It went the whole way to penalties. It was 0-0. So it shows you how good our team has got. As you can see, we ended up missing one. They ended up missing one. And then Nathan De Cat unfortunately missed the last penalty for us. But look, I don't care. Even if we got the final and lost, and you know my love for getting the finals. If we get the final, you have to win. But I can't even complain. The team has done amazing. To go into the Champions League thing, obviously there in the semi-finals we faced off against PSG. We ended up beating them 3-2 in aggregate. So like we didn't have an easy run coming up to the Champions League. Quarterfinals we faced off against Inter. We beat them 6-3. And then in the round of 16 we beat Man City 4-3. So I would say, honestly, joking aside, this is probably one of the hardest runs I've had in the Champions League. Man City, Inter and PSG, and then getting to the final against Barcelona. I couldn't have asked the boys to do any better. And then if we go over into the team for the overall season, we click on the goals. As you can see, look, Franco Lino, 34 goals, 12 assists. Asan Quadrago played 53 games, 23 goals, 16 assists. And then we also had Rasmus in there, 21 goals, 5 assists. Noah Darvuch, 10 goals, 13 assists. The assists is absolutely wild. Our Hast is our left back with 19. Asan Quadrago was 16. Our right back had 14 with 6 goals. Darvuch, like I said, did very, very well. Nathaniel Brown got a lot of football. The Cat also played really well. The best thing is, this is my favorite part of this whole thing, is the amount of time everybody got to play. There's only a few people in the squad that didn't get a ton of football. Like if you scroll the whole way down to here, these people got at least 10 starts and 32 off the bench, which is great. Obviously, we're playing a lot of competition, so we know we're going to get a lot of squad rotation. But people like Kareem Koulibaly, 47 games started, so his development is going to be absolutely fantastic. Even young Matteo Palma started 25 games, 19 off the bench once again, is massively going to help. He looks ridiculous, by the way. His physicals are absolutely insane. That's my thing. Obviously, with simulating the seasons, it makes it a little more difficult to try and get everybody a lot of football. But the assistant manager, the great thing is I haven't had the only people I would usually lock in for the season now is Seaman, Felchis, Shima. I locked in a Asan Quadrago because he wasn't going to start, and Rasmus. So you're only locking like 4, maybe 5 people in at a time, and then it means the rest of your positions are getting a lot of rotation. This is exactly what I want. Look, I'm trying to fathom how well we played this season. I don't get how I have played Football Manager for a long time, and I seem to be getting to a lot. I seem to be doing really, really well in the Champions League with a lot of smaller teams. Even though in the Como save, we did really, really well. We got the final with Como, once again using really, really good tactics from GYR. I highly recommend going and checking out his channel. But like, man, this is possibly one of the best tactics I think I've used in FM26. So if you want a really good 3 at the back, I highly recommend giving this a go. Like I said, the results speak for themselves. But that's an amazing season. We won the league. We won the cup. We could have won the fucking Champions League, but I can't be too upset. Look, we took Barcelona the whole way in the final, the penalties. We did very, very well. But boys, I wonder how much money we got to spend. The board have once again given us a total of 74 million. But if I'm honestly looking at the team, there's nowhere I'm just like, right, we need to massively increase his position. The only place I would probably look to try and bring someone in like really, really good, probably gonna be a long-term replacement for Maximilian Milstead, because obviously he's our left back, but at some point, look, he's gonna be 32 this year. We're gonna need to replace him. Do we need to replace him right now? No. I'm happy enough with him. The dude just scored 3 goals and 19 assists and helped us get the Champions League final. No, I mean, so we've done very, very well. But he is one we're gonna need to probably try and find someone to replace him long-term. But boys, an absolutely amazing season. Let's jump over into season 4. So boys, then jumping over into season 4, Barcelona come in and offered for one of our players. So kind of forced their hand to buy somebody new. And that person that went to Barcelona is our left back, Maximilian Mittelstadt. We were talking about replacing him at some point, and then Barcelona came in and offered us 42.5 million. I said no. He got upset, which, no, wait, it's understandable. From Stuttgart to Barcelona, I get it. But look, this kind of forced my hand because I didn't want to have to replace him just yet. But obviously, look, with the money we got for him and then the money we had for transfer kitty, we had over 100 million. but I still wanted to keep price of the player down that we brought in. I was looking somebody young, explosive. Obviously, they're going to be playing as an advanced wing back, so we need them to be good on the ball. I think I found somebody really good. But before we jump over, I'll show you who I brought in at left back. I'm going to show you two players that I brought in on a freeze on approach of science. One of them is Gabriel Moscardo from PSG. Look, a young defensive midfielder. We got him for absolutely nothing. He's happy to play as a fringe player / squad player. So it's going to obviously give us, it means Nathan Decat and Shima don't have to play every single game, and we have good rotation in those positions, but also it increases the quality of the player that I can bring in, because let's be honest, if Shima gets injured, the people that play in the position behind him, they're not great, so this helps us with quality of squad depth, and it costs us fuck all. But on top of that, also to bolster up the middle of the park, I went and got Andre Santos, another one we got on it free. He's only 24, 5'11", a little shorter than what I usually go for, but as you can see, look, his stats speak for his own. He is very, very good. He's pretty good with both feet as well, and free is the best price. So the person I brought in to replace our left back was young Valentino Barco. There's a few things for this. One, he was a little upset he spaghetti at his club, and he was transfer listed for 32 million. On top of that, he's only 23. He has guaranteed 4-star potential, so he's going to get a star better than what he is right now. But here's the things, right? 15 crossing, 15 dribbling, 15 first touch, passing's good, vision's good, mental stats are very, very good. Physicals probably were kind of lets him down a little bit. His jumping reach isn't great, strength's not amazing, stamina's only 10, but he's got good natural fitness, he's got good pace, he's got a wicked left foot, and like I said, for 32 million for a 23-year-old, and he's very, very technically gifted. That's what I wanted. Someone that could just whip the ball into the box for us, and he's that guy. So it means going over into season 4, this is what the team is going to look like. Not a lot has obviously changed. The only thing that has changed is basically our left back. It's still Seaman, Koulibaly, Jelcic, Gyökeres, Barco, Decat, Shima, Asiko. I love this team, bro. It's very, very good. Francolino, Sanko Drago, and then obviously the big man up top. Brancolino ran in and around the sort of January to sort of April time. Actually wanted to leave the club. He had said he wanted to move to a stronger squad. I didn't say anything, just hoping it would go away, and obviously it did. I'm glad it did, because this is a good, I really want to keep this kid at the club. He is absolutely fantastic. He's honestly, I'd say if he's not world class, he's very, very close to it. And if he can have the season that he had last year, honestly, I don't know if the team, I would say, given it probably like a season or a bit, and Barco gets up to his full potential, because obviously Maximilian was at his max potential and he's very, very good. I think if Barco, we give him that time to get up to that 4-star, I think he will be better than what Maximilian is. So technically the team's just as strong as it was, so the same things are going to apply for this season. Push Bayern as hard as we can. We can't guarantee we're going to win the league every single season. Obviously I don't want to win it every season. I want competition. I want other teams around us. I want the Dortmunds to get better. I want the Leipzig to get better. I want everybody to get better. The more competition is, the better it is. The stronger the league is, the more money we can make as well. That's our goal. Just push Bayern as much as we can, but guarantee that we stay in Champions League football. That's the main goal. The cup, we won it last year. Would love to continue that this year, but we just keep pushing it. I want to at least hit the quarterfinals of the cup every single season. And then obviously the Champions League. Look, our goal for the next 2 seasons is to see, can we win the Champions League at some point? But boys, that's everybody we've brought in and everybody we've brought out. Obviously, I'm going to have a look at all the players in January, see if there's anybody good on the approach of signs, and then hoping over the next 2 seasons we can get another really, really good youth intake. Boys, that's enough messed about. Let's go play season 4. So boys, we're at the end of season 4. Honestly, there was nobody I was interested in January for the approach of science, and our youth intake was 2 stars. We got a good one at the start of this save, and then it's just it's kind of fell off a little bit. But I did sign some players after the youth intake, but we'll get into that next year. But we have a Super Cup to play in, boys, which we actually won for once. As you know, look, we've been in the Super Cup a couple of times, and Bayern have slapped us every single time, but it was our turn to slap Bayern this time. As you can see, we won 3-1. Seiko got one, our little right back. Rasmus got the next one. Francolino made it 3-0. They got one right at the end through Alphonso Davies. I actually want to see how good is Alphonso Davies in this. Yeah, he's not bad, and he's still only 28. Like, we're 4 years in and he's still only 28. Then jumping over into the league, boys, we did it finally. Back-to-back leagues. I think we've kind of proved now that we're up there and we're with Bayern and we're one of like the best German teams around at the minute. Obviously, it took a wee bit of time, but I love the competition. Like I said, I don't want us to just absolutely smash the league every year. I want other teams around us to get better. That's why I love the Premiership. It's just so competitive. But look, 34 games played, 22 wins. We had 8 draws this time instead of 7, and 4 losses. A little less goals. We had scored like, what, 80 last year? He only scored 65, still only conceded 29. We got the best defensive record in the league again. 36 goal difference. Like I said, I don't know why we've dropped off of like 15 goals, but we finished on 74 points. Bayern finished on 72. Frankfurt are on 69. So Frankfurt obviously do have a decent team in this game. I know that. Leverkusen dropped off. My favorite German team, Dortmund, have dropped off massively. They're like 20 odd points behind even just us. But look, winning the league 2 years in a row, this is absolutely fantastic. But let's see how we did in the cup, where unfortunately we get knocked out in the semi-finals by fucking Freiburg of all teams. And then, funny enough, Wolfsburg actually beat Leipzig. I want to see who actually won in the final. Well, it hasn't been played yet. There you go. So unfortunately, we get knocked out by Freiburg in the semis. The quarterfinals, we faced off against Hoffenheim. We smashed them 4-0, which is absolutely fantastic. The third round, we beat Nuremberg. In the second round, you have to scroll down a little bit, but we did beat Dusseldorf in a close match, 3-2. So boys, won the league. Unfortunately, get knocked out in the semis of the cup. But we do also have the Champions League, where unfortunately this year we only made it to the round of 16. But we faced off against Bayern Munich, and the team we played before this was kind of rough as well. We ended up having to play in the knockouts. But look, we got beat on penalties 4-each with Bayern. Look at this, as frustrating as this is, I know we can compete with the best teams in the world now. Like, we've shown that. Obviously, getting to the final last year was so random because we played so many big teams and did so well. I would have loved if we actually won the Champions League. But look, beat by Bayern, unfortunately, in the round of 16 on penalties. In the knockouts, we actually had to play Liverpool. We beat them 3-1 in aggregate, which was fantastic because Liverpool's team in this is disgustingly good. In the league phase, we actually dropped down. We're in the 18th. Look, as long as we finish in the top 24, it's absolutely amazing. I'm surprised that we haven't been in the top 8 yet. Look, even when we get in the Champions League final, we were still had to play in the knockouts, but we played 8 games. We won 3, drew 2, lost 3, 13 goal difference. We did concede 10, which is a little surprising. Going out in the round of 16 is a little frustrating, but look, it is what it is. Like I said, when we beat Liverpool, one of the best teams in the game, played Bayern, one of the best teams in the game, and took them the whole way to penalties. Unfortunately, just this year wasn't our year, but look, I'm still pretty happy with the boys. Won the Super Cup, won the league, semi-finals of the cup, round of 16 of the Champions League. Would have at least, I want to try and at least hit the quarterfinals every year. I think our team is good enough. Obviously, we brought in a lot of young players. They have hindered us a little bit. Like I said, we dropped off 15 goals in the league, so somewhere in there we need to score a few more goals. As we then jump over into the team stats for the year, look, once again, a lot of players. If you go to appearances, there's a lot of people. Barco played 50 games, Quadrago played 50, Seaman played 50, and the whole way down to here, like, you have Noah Darvuch played 11, 35. So this, once again, we had a fantastic team rotation, which is exactly what I want. Goals, Rasmus played 47, 33 goals and 3 assists. Francolino played 45, 20 goals and 9 assists. And then we have a Sandro Drago. He did get a wee bit of an injury at the end of the season, but he played 52 games, 14 goals and 13 assists. He probably dropped off a wee bit from where he was. Him and Francolino had an absolute ton of goals and assists last year. They kind of dropped off a wee bit this year. Lasico, even our right back, scored 9 goals. Our centre back got 5 assists, are very, very good. Lasico got 21 assists. And then Barco on the left-hand side got 16 assists. Mondrago got 13. So all in all, our fullbacks, our attacking fullbacks, are doing very, very well. They're getting involved in the goals and they have a ton of assists. And the team ended up kind of looking like this a little bit this year. Palma ended up playing a lot of football, but so did Jacques. They kind of rotated quite a lot. He played 31 games, 17 off the bench. So they did get a lot of rotation. I just kind of put this in here because it looks nice, because we've got a German centre, or German keeper, centre back in nets. We got a German keeper, 3 German centre backs, which is absolutely fantastic. Look, like I said, I wanted to try and keep as many German players in the team as I can. Obviously, look, we can only do so much. Asico is also German. Sandro Drago is also German. We have a lot of German people in the squad as well. But like I said, we had a fantastic season. This team I'm very, very happy with. Look, obviously we didn't score as many goals as I wanted this year. Look, Francolino and Sandro Drago fell off a little bit, but look, some seasons you can't expect them to have banger seasons, 20 goals, 20 assists every season. And we still did very, very well. We won the Super Cup. We won the league. It's not round of 16, the Champions League, and we got the semi-finals of the Cup. So look, all in all, I have nothing to complain about. Honestly, with regards to the first team, I think the only thing I'm going to do is just like bolster. I think the only thing we're kind of missing is our first team is absolutely unreal. But then our quality and squad depth is starting to fall off a wee bit, because obviously people are aging out, contracts are going, and we need to replace some of those. But I have brought in 2 players that were on the top 50 Wonderkids, the next gen list. Yeah, cost us a little bit of money between the two of them, probably about 70 million. But look, we have 98 million to spend because I haven't really been spending a ton of cash. Yeah, the two players we brought in, they're very, very good. But all in all, boys, look, a fantastic fourth season. Let's jump over into season 5. So, boys, the fifth and final season, we have bolstered up the squad quite a lot. I've put a lot of money into sort of like younger players. Look, the first team's fantastic. Like I said, we just needed a wee bit more sort of quality in squad depth. I've spent about I think I've spent about 100 million. You know, I don't do it too often, but we haven't spent that much money. Any money we've spent on players like the 50 million on the cap, we've made back from like selling other players and stuff. So we've done very, very well financially. The club is in a very, very good spot. But I have bought a few young players. Look, they were very, very exciting. A lot of other clubs were interested in them. So I swooped in and got their first. A lot of them had like release clauses. So we were able just to get them straight away. But my goal for this season, once again, do as well as we can in the league. If we can win the league 3 years in a row, that would be absolutely fantastic. The cup, I want to try and win. And I feel like we have to do better in the Champions League. Look, I know we played very, very good teams. We beat Liverpool. We lost to Bayern on penalties. But look, I want to win. At least this year, I want to at least get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. I'd ideally love to get the final in the fifth and final season, but look, at least the quarterfinals this year. So one of our first transfers in the door and our cheapest one, look, he had a release clause of 12.5 million, is this guy Sergio Lopez. I have put him on the loan list. I would like to ideally get him loaned out. He's very, very young. He's only just turned 18. As you can see, has really, really good potential. Playing a 2.5 star, he'll probably get to about 4 star. Good speed, good attacking, good technical. He's pretty good all around. You're sort of like pick up the ball and just goal people, which is ideally what Football Manager loves right now. He's also got 17 determination, 16 technique, 15 finishing, 14 dribbling, 13 first touch, and for 12.5 million, I think a wee bit of a steal. In the next one on our list is going to be a right back. He could probably play on the left hand side because he's fairly strong with his left foot and very strong with his right. So two-footed, so we probably could play on both sides. But this is going to be obviously our right back. Asiko can't play every single game. Look, I want him to play every single game, but look, I feel like sometimes we're putting out players that are a little bit tired by locking them in whenever we could be having players that are fresh. So that is one position I did want to upgrade, was having somebody to either step in and give Asiko as much competition as possible and see who gets the most football. Is this young guy, Bede Rosea? He's Belgian, 19. Very, like I said, he's got 20 determination. You could probably notice his physical stats are absolutely insane. 16 for speed, technique is good, mentals are good, physicals are good. Like I said, he's only just turned 18, but he's got 17 acceleration, 15 pace, 17 natural fitness, 15 for balance, 17 for agility. That 20 determination means he'll probably at least hit that 4 star, maybe a little more. Passing's good, technique is good, crossing of 15 as well. Mental stats are very, very good. Did cost us a wee bit of a pretty penny. He had a release clause of 35 million, so we just swooped in. Look, there was loads of teams in there. Arsenal was in for him, PSG was in for him, Man City, I think Milan and Barcelona. But they were all haggling in and around the sort of like 28 million mark. I just went in, activated his release clause and just got him straight away, because if we have to go up and fight against those teams, we're not going to get him. Then the next one is Oliver Noble, a young attacking player. This is probably, I would say, one of the best ones out of the ones that we got. Another one that had a release clause, but as you can see, 20 flair, 19 determination, little one-footed, but it's something we can work on with individual training. 15 dribbling, 17 finishing, 17 first touch, passing the 14, technique of 16, and like I said, that 19 determination is really, really going to help him get there. If you go over here and look, you can tell, look, this kid is going to be a superstar. If he gets the 4 star, a star and a half better than this, we have a world-class player in our hands. And like I said, he did have a release clause of 38 million. Once again, a lot of people, it was us, Man City and Arsenal that were interested in him. Once again, they were hovering around, didn't want to pay the release clause. I just swooped in. Look, we have the money that we have not spent. And this is one of those players I think we just need to get into the squad because he's going to be world class. And possibly our most expensive player. This is going to be one for, obviously, a replacement for the Cat and for Chima. I want someone that's got a wee bit more quality. Obviously, Moscardo and the guy that we brought in on a free, look, they're good. They play as backups, but like this kid's going to have some real quality. He cost us 48 million once again. I don't think he actually had a release clause. I think we just had to pay it. As you can see, look, we brought him in. He's now worth 153 million. He's got 20 determination, 17 bravery, 17 decision making. First touch is good, passing is good, tackling is good, technique is good. All down the bottom of his mental stats are insane. The only thing that kind of lets him down a bit, he's kind of like Shima a wee bit that way, where he's not quick, but he's 6'4", he can play with both feet, he's only just turned 18, and look, you can see the potential here. He is probably like Shima, but probably going to be a lot better. And if we jump over into the team, like I said, pushing over into the final season, this is what the assistant manager would play. Honestly, probably not much different than what I would play. Seaman, Koulibaly, Palma, and Jecic. He is now our captain, by the way. Asiko, Decat, and Chima, I don't really care where these two play. Kind of their, I would ideally like Decat in the box-to-box because he's a wee bit sort of better, more well-rounded. But look, I don't mind where any of the two of them play. Barco, Franklino, Noble, I probably would have put in here instead of a Sankodrago. Sankodrago's been fantastic. Look, you got to remember, we're playing on 3 competitions. Everybody's going to get a lot of football. But Noble, I think starting, it just makes sense. The kid is absolutely electric, and I feel like he's just going to do some serious damage. And then big Rasmus up top. Like I said, Asiko on our new right back, they're going to get a lot of football. They're going to interchange. But this is going to be the team going into the 5th and final season. Obviously, I'm still going to do the same thing in January. If there's anybody good on the approach of signs, we're going to bring them in. And then hopefully, if you pray to anything, boys, pray to it. I'm hoping we can just get one more good youth intake before we finish this save. But like I said, the goal, fight for the title, fight for the cup, and at least make the quarterfinals of the Champions League this year. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play the 5th and final season. So boys, we're at the end of the 5th and final season. Unfortunately, the youth intake was not good, boys. Look, I was hoping just for one more, but look, we have a plethora of very, very good young players at clubs, so I'm not really worried about that. Yeah. So this season, like I said, just maintain what we're doing. Keep pushing Bayern, do as well as we can in the cup, and I want to at least reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League. That's our goal. So let's jump over. See how we did in the Super Cup first. So we ended up winning this. Look, it was a bit of a close game against Wolfsburg, which is a team, look, I expect us to kind of, I wouldn't say steamroll, but have a bit of a better performance against. But look, all in all, we can't really say much. We had 14 shots, they had 6. 5 on target. We had a 1.91 actually, that is 0.49. So just, we couldn't slip the ball in the back of the net. We ended up winning this on penalties. They missed 2. We scored all ours. So boys, we win the Super Cup. Now let's jump over, see how we did in the Bundesliga. And unfortunately, we ended up finishing second. But like I said, I'm enjoying the competition. I like the back and forth between us and Bayern. I really, really enjoy this. But we did absolutely fantastic. 34 games played, 23 wins, 7 draws, 4 losses. We scored 91 goals. That's 30 more goals nearly than what we scored last season. Did concede a few more in 37. We conceded about 26, 29 the last couple of seasons. So we did concede a bit more, but like we scored a lot more goals. 54 goal difference, the highest in the league. Finished on 76 points. Bayern finished on 79. We just had a few too many draws, and unfortunately that ended up probably costing us the league. But like I said, we have done absolutely fantastic. We won the league, 3 years out of the 5 that we were here. I'd say that's a pretty good performance. So let's jump over, see how we did in the cup. And that we ended up winning 2-0, a nice little comprehensive win against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Rasmus got the goal and Franklino got the goal. We had a very, very good performance. But honestly, so did they. It was a pretty even game. We just got the 2 goals. So boys, that's the cup in the bag again. But unfortunately in the Champions League, we ended up going out in the round of 16. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a little disappointed in this after how good our team had been performing all season and the amount of goals we've been scoring. Went out again against Arsenal. They beat us 4-3 in aggregate, which is massively disappointing because we won the first leg. So then if we go to the knockouts, we ended up putting out Barcelona 3-2. The league phase, we ended up finishing the whole way down in 22nd. We played 8 games, won 4, drew 0, and lost 4. I don't know who the losses were against. So we ended up losing to Juventus, Sporting, Atletico, and City. The City game, I kind of get Juventus. We should be beating. Atletico, of course, is a hard game, but a game I think, again, we should be winning. So that's kind of disappointing. Sporting, look, did very, very well. They ended up finishing up on 11th. But look, all in all, I would say those 4 losses, we should be winning at least 2 or 3 of those. And one of them I'm happy enough to lose. So that would give us, like another 7 points, which would have took us up to 19 points, which for once would have actually taken us the whole way up into like 3rd spot. But look, all in all, I'm trying to not be disappointed, but I kind of am. That's after us getting to the final, we hit this high, hit the Champions League, did well in the first season, got the final, and I was like, this could be the save where we just win the Champions League. And then the last 2 years we've kind of just fell off. Yes, I know we're facing high opposition, but look, that's the Champions League. You're gonna face really, really good teams. I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to get further than the round of 16. But then if we do go over into the selection info, once again, the whole squad got a really, really good run out. If you go the whole way down, you have to go the whole way down to here to look at Vasquez. For him, he get 18 starts, 21, 38, 39, 42. This is what I love. The assistant manager is rotating the squad out quite a lot. And this is what you want, isn't it? You want your players to get a lot of games and try and keep everybody as happy as possible. Goals-wise, we did amazing. Francolino, 31 goals. Noble, the wee young striker we just brought in, scored 30. Rasmus got 20. Then a wee bit of a drop off since the 3, but that's okay because we've got 2 defensive midfielders. The fullbacks are obviously, or the attacking wing backs are obviously going to get more assists than the yard goals. It's the front 3 that I want scoring the vast majority of our goals. But look, Barco got 9 from left back. Sergio Lopez, who is out on loan, he got himself 7 goals. Shima from defensive midfield got 5. Palmo got 5 from centre back. Olasico got himself 5 goals as well. Assists, I'm very interested to see. Barco, 16. Nathaniel Brown, who does play left back. I know Barco got a wee bit of an injury because he only played 48 games. But Nathaniel Brown did very, very well. Got himself 15 assists. He only started 5 games, 30 off the bench and 15 assists. Olasico got himself 12. Andres once again from defensive midfield, 5 goals, 9 assists. So all in all, I'm really, really happy we spread the assists around the team. The goals, like I said, obviously I don't mind because the front 3 is the 3 I want to be our attacking thread. And if you look at the team, this is obviously how they would mostly set it out. Right back is a bit of a toss-up between Rosia and Asico. Any of the 2 of those can fill in. I'm really, really happy there. The same with the centre backs. We do have a couple of options there with Vasquez and stuff, but Seaman, Koulibaly, Jelcic has been absolutely fantastic. He also looks amazing. For a kid that we brought up from the under-19s, he's now our captain at 23. This was a really, really good one. I'm not going to lie. This was like a wee sneaky one. I was just looking around the under-19s, was like, holy shit, he's very good. I will be bringing this guy up in a few saves because he's absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, like Barco, Decat, Shima, and Rosia. Noble did absolutely fantastic for first season. You have 30 goals and 5 assists. That's 35 goal involvements in 43 games for your first season in the first team. And he's only going to get better. On top of that, we also have a fantastic squad. Like you look, Vocic, Mayer, Kohler, Asico, Asanka Drago, Moscardo, Santos, Darvuch. Coach is one that wants to get a wee bit more football, but obviously if you take the save on, you're going to be playing the games and you're going to be able to give him a lot more football. Lopez, I did get out on loan. Then we still get Nathaniel Brown and Vasquez. Then you also go over into the squad, go into the under-19s. Hold on, we've got in selection info, where's general info? Go to potential. You have 2 5-star players, a couple of 4.5-star players. In the second team, you've got a bunch of 5-star players. Obviously, I'll not look at all these. I'll just let you be surprised and let you go and look at them yourselves. A couple like 4.5 stars, a ton of 4 and 3-star players. So you have a plethora of very, very good young players coming through the ranks. But on top of having a very, very good first team, a really, really good second team and under-19 team, I did also confirm the transfer of a couple players for you. A couple of them were pretty cheap, and then 2 of them I got on approach assigns. They're pretty good, I think. So the first one is this young guy, Maguila. He costs us a total of 5 million. He had a release clause, but he's only 19. He's Brazilian, fairly strong with one foot, very strong with the other foot. As you can see over here, has the potential to be very, very good. It's the scouts say he's only got a C rating. Look, even if he just gets a wee bit better than this, you have a very, very good backup to one of your attacking midfielders, and that's why I brought this guy in for 5 million. You're gone. That's one place I feel like we need a wee bit more squad depth, is the 2 attacking midfielders just right in behind the striker. This guy, look, 17 passing, 16 technique, determination and flair 17, off the ball of 15. On top of that, being very, very technical. I love when players have good teamwork and work rate, and he has got 16 and 15 for that. Physicals probably could do with a wee bit of work, but look, for 5 million, it's a player that you can kind of build up with a wee bit of individual training. And the next one is Fabio Zanoy. This wee kid cost us 2 million. Look, the only thing is about him, he's a little short, but he is very, very explosive. If you go over into here, he's very Alphonso Davies-esque. Look, he can play on the right-hand side. You could probably train him to play on the left-hand side. He's, as you can see, he's kind of played there a little bit because he's fairly strong with one foot and very strong with the other foot. You could have 2 players. The wee guy, Rosario, I can't remember his full name, that plays on the right-hand side for us, is very similar to this guy. So you could have 2 players that are kind of like Alphonso Davies, one on the left, one on the right, and they're both very, very young. Obviously, Zanoli may not be just as good, but look, even if you don't want to start him, a very, very good backup, and for 2 million. Then the next one is William Jensen. This costs us a total of 7 million. I think all in all, a very, very good signing. Probably one of the big things that's going to jump out is physical stats. His agility and balance are 18 and 17. He is 18 finishing, 17 technique, determination is very high, anticipation of 14, composure of 14, decision making of 14, flair of 15, off the ball of 15. Little short of 5'5", once again, very, very good both feet. And for 7 million, this is a player, honestly, I feel like him and Noble could end up being the two players that play in behind the striker down the line. But the signings don't stop there. The next one is Claudio Avicii. He's currently playing for Man City. Not really getting on, has very high potential in the game, but unfortunately, like I said, he's just not getting the play time. But we got him on a free. Look how good he is here, right? And then if you go up to his signings, he has guaranteed 4-star potential. So he's going to get another 2 stars better than this. Look, even if he's not a starter and he ends up being a squad player, you got him for absolutely nothing. And the final player that I brought in for you is, like I said, this is another one on a free, is Christian Mosquera, the young Spanish centre-back from Arsenal. He is very good. A little one-footed, but that's okay. He's 6'3". He's absolutely fantastic. The kid can also pass. He's very good all round. And if you go over here, he's a very good centre back. And if you're gonna stick with the 3 centre backs, you have another fantastic centre back that's still only 25. And I feel like we've done absolutely fantastic. Look, out of the 5 seasons, we won the league 3 years. We won the Super Cup 3 years. We won the DFB Pokal 2 years. Unfortunately, didn't win the Champions League, but look, it is what it is. We made it to a final with Stuttgart. I was more surprised than anybody. Even if you're watching this and you're surprised, trust me, you were no more surprised than I was. But look, we've built an absolutely fantastic team. Like I said, and the under-19s and the second team are also bolstered up, and you have 5 very good players coming in the summer. Like I said, the save file and the tactic that I use will all be in the pinned comments when this video goes live. So if you want to take over the save file and you want the tactic, everything will be down in the comments down below. But boys, I appreciate all the support on all these videos. It means the absolute world to me, boys, whenever you leave comments and you like the video. It does help out the videos so much. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody who voted on the poll on the community page. I didn't honestly think Stuttgart's team would have been this good. They have a very good starting team. I highly recommend doing this as a save. They've got some fantastic young players, and the board are actually very supportive. On top of that, they also have fantastic facilities just off rip. But I think that's going to be a good spot to stop off for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Only if you fucking want to on YouTube. Have yourselves a fantastic day.